the night is quiet. The sky above is a deep velvet blue, scattered with stars that seem to hum with a slow, distant rhythm. A soft wind moves over the hills and through the tall grass, brushing the earth with a whisper. Mountains rest like great sleeping animals beneath the blanket of dusk. The air carries the faint smell of olive oil and earth. The day begins and ends with the movement of the sun, and the night belongs to stories, to firelight, to the stars. Not yet a story, not yet a battle, just the steady rhythm of a place, breathing in the dark. The world feels small but full, like a clay bowl cupped in careful hands. But history is waiting, quietly, like the morning fog that will rise when dawn comes again. For now, though, there is only stillness. There is only the hush of night and the soft path that leads us back to a time long before memory. Somewhere a lyre hums gently, fingers plucking its strings with care, not for performance, but for peace. The sound drifts through wooden shutters and into the sleeping dark, floating like mist above a quiet village. The sea nearby breathes in and out, steady and calm, its waves lapping against the shore with patient repetition. In the silence, the scent of salt mixes with the dry dust of ancient paths, the kind of dust that clings to sandals and settles in folds of cloth. There are no machines here, no loud voices, no rush. Only the natural hush of twilight, the kind that settles over everything. Somewhere a candle flickers behind a curtain, its light warm and gentle. The world feels still, as if it too is beginning to drift into sleep. Far away, across time, the land lies waiting. In this slow and quiet world, a fire might burn low inside a stone hearth, its flames soft and golden. People here speak in low tones, their hands are strong from labor, their footsteps quiet and steady. They do not look far beyond the horizon. And somewhere among the shadows and golden edges of a forgotten land, the seeds of something are already there. The hills rest, the olive trees sway gently. The people sleep beneath woven blankets, their dreams unbothered by the weight of history. The morning comes slowly. It does not shout or shine too brightly. Instead, it arrives with a pale light that seeps through the folds of linen curtains and brushes across the stone floors. The earth is dry but rich, dark with promise, and warm from the touch of the sun. Goats bleat softly in their pens, and chickens rustle in the straw. The fields stretch out like faded cloth, waiting for the touch of calloused hands. Women move through the morning light with baskets on their hips, gathering herbs or kneading bread. It is the smell of work, of structure, of life lived within a rhythm. The hills rise softly around the village, quiet and watchful. And beyond them, the world waits, just as it always has. Children murmur in sleepy tones, chasing each other between trees, their laughter gentle and warm like spring rain on dry ground. Homes are made of thick walls and wooden beams, built not for beauty but for strength and shade. Their surfaces carry the dust of years and the quiet pride of craftsmanship. Every motion is shaped by intention, and every word is chosen with care. The people do not tell stories loudly, but the land remembers. It remembers footsteps and echoes, and names carved into stone, worn smooth by time. Doors creak softly as they open, and sandals scuff against smooth stones. No one rushes. Time here is not kept by bells or clocks, but by shadows, wind, and the position of the sun. The air is cool, carrying the scent of early herbs and smoke from the night's last embers. Somewhere in the distance, a rooster calls once, and then falls silent again. The earth there is packed hard from years of footsteps. Wooden spears lean against a wall, and round shields rest beside them, bearing scratches that whisper of long days and older seasons. No one shouts. There is only the rhythm of feet striking the earth, the breath of bodies moving in unison, and the soft sound of wind as it catches the edge of a cloak. The world wakes, but it does so gently without hurry. In a small village nestled among hills and olive groves, life moves at the pace of nature. Men step out to tend the animals, their voices low, their movements practiced. Farther out, beyond the stone walls and low roofs of the village, lies the training ground. Sparta is not a place of noise. It is a place of balance, of discipline, of silence filled with purpose. Even the dogs do not bark without reason. The air carries the scent of dust and metal, of oil and sweat, It is not unpleasant. His name is Darren, though few ever speak it loudly. Names in his world are not ornaments. They're quiet threads, pulled gently through the days. He is neither the strongest nor the swiftest among the others, but he is steady. His gaze is calm, and his movements are measured. He rises before the sun without complaint, the way water rises in a well, slowly and without noise. Each day begins the same. The thin mat beneath him is still warm when he folds it and sets it aside. The room around him is plain, not two voices or stories, but to the soft hum of the wind in the branches, to the distant lowing of animals, to the heartbeat of the land itself. His eyes close, not from tiredness, but from peace. There is no urgency in him. The day unfolds as it must, like a leaf unfurling in the sun. The walls are made of smooth stone, cool to the touch. The air is crisp, the sky tinted with the first shades of pale rose and fading violet. Around him, others move in silence. The sand beneath their feet stirs in gentle swirls. No one speaks. There is no need. The silence is not empty. It is full of presence, full of attention. Duran joins them without hesitation. The training begins not with action, but with stillness. A clay jug of water sits by the threshold, its contents drawn fresh before dawn. He pours a little into his hands, rubbing it gently over his face and neck. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Inside are olives and bread, wrapped in soft cloth. The path is lined with low stones and soft grass. Bees drift lazily from flower to flower, and the olive trees creak in the breeze. Sits beneath one, the bark rough against his back, and unwraps his meal. He eats slowly, savoring each bite. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is hurried. The sensation is brisk and grounding, a ritual more than a need. A soft piece of cloth dries his skin, and he ties the folds of his tunic with quiet care. He steps outside, and the earth greets him. They stretch in the early light, muscles pulling like slow tides. The elder walks among them, nodding, adjusting, never shouting. There is a rhythm to the morning, a shape carved from repetition. Wooden swords are lifted, shields raised. Movements are mirrored like waves lapping the shore. Duran does not think as he trains. He lets his breath guide him, in and out, as if the sea itself moves through his chest. Later, when the sun climbs higher and the shadows grow shorter, he walks toward the grove with a small sack slung over his shoulder. Afterward, he listens. The day stretches onward without edges. The light has softened, and the sun hangs in the sky like a golden bowl turned upside down. Darren rises from the base of the olive tree and brushes the crumbs from his tunic. His fingers move lightly, not out of worry, but from habit. There is no rush. The air is warm, touched with the scent of resin and dry bark. A cicada hums somewhere nearby, its steady rhythm blending into the silence. He takes the long path today, the one that winds down through the lower fields. The sun has shifted again, casting longer shadows across the earth. The fields glow with the color of honey, and the hills in the distance look like resting animals, still and wide. There is no sound but the breeze and the quiet breath of the land. It is not a journey with purpose, only a slow errand to the well near the edge of the village. Darren walks it with the kind of steps that do not disturb the dust, with the kind of presence that does not ask anything from the world around him. The trees seem to lean toward him as he passes, their branches shifting in the wind, and the stones beneath his feet carry him gently back. Far off, a shepherd lifts his hand in greeting. The path narrows here, curving beside a shallow stream. When he reaches the well, he pauses. The stones around it are old and worn smooth, their edges softened by countless hands. A small bucket rests nearby, tied to a frayed rope. Darren lowers it slowly, listening to the rope slide over the wood. The gentle splash below, the slow draw upward. The water is clear, and he pours it into his jar without haste. A few drops spill onto his fingers, cool against the warm skin. The water is clear and slow, barely moving, only trembling where a single leaf rides its surface. Darren stops and kneels by the edge, dipping his fingers into the coolness. It is not thirst that draws him, only the quiet pleasure of the moment. A beetle skims across a flat rock nearby, its shell catching the light like burnished bronze. Duran returns the gesture with a nod. No words pass between them. The sound of the wind is enough. Birds glide overhead, not in flocks, but alone, circling slowly as if carried by thought. The sky above is vast, and in it the clouds drift like thin white sails. The clay jar he carries is smooth and cool in his hand, its weight familiar. Each step on the path is known to him, each bend and rise, each patch of earth worn smooth by many feet. His sandals press into the dust, leaving soft prints that will be brushed away by the next breeze. The fields stretch out like a quiet sea. Rows of low plants move gently in the wind. He passes a stand of cypress trees, tall and narrow, their trunks lined like silent guards. Continues walking, the jar swinging gently at his side. Before returning, he sits on the low wall of the well and watches the landscape. He does not hurry. The path home is not a straight line, curves and bends like thought itself, like memory. The sun begins to lower, casting its golden light over the tops of the olive trees and stone rooftops. The village no longer hums with movement. It exhales slowly, like the land itself is settling into a deep breath. Darren returns, his steps soft on the path, the clay jar now full and resting against his hip. A flint struck gently brings a soft spark. Soon, a tiny flame curls upward, reaching toward the edge of the kindling like a whisper. Voices murmur low in nearby homes, not in conversation, but in the rhythm of rest. A mother hums to a child. A dog turns once in the dust and sighs. Somewhere, a bowl is set gently onto a table, the sound barely more than a hush. The kind of peace that comes when the day has asked for nothing more than presence. The kind that settles like dust and stays through the night. The world feels wrapped in a soft fabric, woven from smoke and twilight. The fire does not crackle, it only glows as the orange light settles across the walls, gentle and low, casting soft shadows that move like breath. The shadows stretch like long fingers across the ground, not threatening, only present, only quiet. The walls around him do not speak, but they hold him. Outside, the wind moves gently through the trees, carrying the scent of ash and time. The fire lowers to embers, each one pulsing softly like a heartbeat. He reaches the doorway of his dwelling, where the wooden frame has worn smooth from years of hands passing over it. The door is open, and the soft scent of herbs greets him from within. Inside, the space is dim and cool. The light falls through the small window in a single narrow beam, dust dancing in its glow. The floor is swept clean, the woven mat unrolled. He eats without sound, slowly, pausing often to listen. Not for anything in particular, just to listen. To the crackle of the fire, to the shifting of the trees, to the quietness that thickens as the stars begin to appear. He sets the jar down near the wall and kneels beside the hearth. The fire is no longer burning, but the stones still hold its memory, a warmth that lingers even in silence. He picks up a small bundle of twigs and arranges them with care. As the evening deepens, the village becomes quieter still. Darren sits near the fire, a shallow bowl of lentils warming on a flat stone. Later, he lies down on the mat, drawing a rough wool blanket over himself. The stone floor beneath is firm but familiar. His eyes close slowly, not from exhaustion but from peace. The night deepens. The sky above stretches wide and endless, its darkness soft and full. Stars bloom slowly, one by one, like drops of silver ink on deep blue cloth. They do not flicker sharply. A few coals breathe faint light, their warmth reaching no farther than the hearth. A distant owl calls once, its voice hollow and smooth. Then silence returns, as if even the birds have given themselves to stillness. There is no storm, no wind, only the repetition of the tide, like a lullaby without beginning or end. The dust of the day settles. The village breathes together, every home a pocket of peace, every person a quiet rhythm folded into the dark. The air is still, touched by the scent of wood smoke and stone. They only hold the night, their edges softened by moonlight, their faces turned toward the stars. Somewhere in those stones lies memory, not stories, not names, just the long, slow echo of time passing like water through fingers. Darren lies motionless beneath his blanket, his breath deep and slow, his hands resting quietly on his chest. He does not dream in color or shape, only in warmth, in the sound of wind, in the silence of fields stretching toward the sea. They hum with a gentle light, steady and slow. The moon rises with patience, its pale glow moving across the rooftops, across the hills, across the quiet bodies at rest. Inside the home, the fire has faded to a soft glow. Outside, the olive trees do not move. They rest like statues, their branches heavy with sleep. In the distance, the mountains wait. They do not stir. They are too old for that. The sea, too, sleeps. Its waves touch the shore with gentle hands, the same motion again and again, like breath. Even the sky seems to exhale, its darkness thick and quiet. The stars are steady. The wind is slow. The earth itself, wrapped in shadow, closes its eyes. And in that silence, all things rest. The fields, the trees, the stones, the fire, the breath, and Darren, and you. Now the story has no more shape, no more path, only stillness, only silence, only sleep.